How are you doing today? Hopefully good. Or tonight. Or, you know what I'm talking about. How to handle a noisy world. It has gotten noisier than ever in 2025, in case you haven't noticed. And I've had plenty of experience with a lot of different jobs, people, places, personalities, you name it. And so I try to share with all of you on this channel some different ways to deal with the noise and the stress. What is the noise that we're talking about? The noise is just all the different people, voices, events, crowds, especially for INFJs. Hey, Caitlin, Irma, Elaine, good to see you all. And yeah, it's crazier than ever with all the stuff that's happening, all of the awakening moments that are taking place, and some non-awakening. It can be hard to navigate. It can be hard to just deal with. And if you're an introvert, so of course INFJs are introverted, but let's talk about all introverts for a second. If you're introverted, that doesn't mean you're just shy or afraid to talk to people or anything like that, like many of the bad connotations that have been mislabeled on introverts. One of the greatest descriptions I've heard that is true is if you're introverted, you get your energy from isolation, from quiet time, from rest time, which makes a lot of sense, right? Extroverts actually get energy from being around people and stuff happening and going on. So if you're an introvert, that makes no sense to you like it does to me, because how can you recharge with a bunch of people and topics and blah 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 and everything? But they do, and that's okay. But the point is that being an introvert is not a bad thing. It's not a weird thing. It's just you need that time away, the rest time, the recharge time, so that you can get back to whatever it is that you want to do. But bigger than that, what I always talk about is finding the balance. So if you spend a certain amount of time on social media, let's say, which pretty much all of us do, and maybe a little bit too much often, one of the best things that you can do as an INFJ or introvert, from personal experience, I know this, is to figure out how to have certain kind of times of the day where you can just dive all in, double thumbs, pedal to the metal, 100 miles an hour. You can do whatever you want. But then maybe later in the day, or certain times again, at least, where you just set that thing down and you focus on stuff that you want to do. Because with that noise there all the time, you're in trouble. You really are. And I know that from personal experience. If I'm trying to be active with the online world, if I try to do live streams throughout a whole day, which I have done on and off before, I might think I'm okay with it for a day or two, but then it'll catch up to me and I will get burnt out, and just energy has been sucked from my soul. That's what it feels like. And that's just because that's how I'm made. That's how INFJs were made, and introverts, generally speaking. The only cool thing to twist on this topic is that INFJs have the ability to be ambiverts. What does that mean? It means that you can be an extrovert as well for short periods of time. And hello, that's the only reason I can do live streams on a daily basis, is because, well, I practiced. I got past sort of the perfectionist mindset, which is hard for everybody to do to some extent, usually. And I figured out that I had a certain amount of extroverted energy that I could expend per day. If I try to go beyond that, I don't know what it is, it's like an hour or two is what it feels like. But if I try to do too much, and that includes even just on social media, chatting with people, messaging, reply, comment about that post, and oh yeah, that video, blah, blah, blah. I can't do too much of that either because it's just going to suck the life out of me. And again, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just really sort of taking note every day. Oh, okay. I see what I did yesterday. I spent an hour doing this stuff on social media, and then I went and hung out with some people for an hour or two, and it felt like too much already, like I was burnt out. So it's different for everybody. And I would say that as far as being like the ambivert, where you flick the switch and you go into extrovert mode for a while, that's different for everybody. Maybe to some extent it takes practice too, because INFJs, for example, we just naturally can chameleon ourselves into any group. So I guess if you're more of the INFJ, Sigma INFJ, it kind of means that you've sort of gotten to a point with the world that you kind of don't care what people think as much, maybe, as you used to. So maybe you're not putting on such, I don't want to say show, but you're not trying to mirror people so hard, which takes energy. And again, it's not a bad thing. It doesn't need to be. We're not trying to manipulate people by acting like how they do, or yeah, it's just trying to make people more comfortable and relate to them on their level. But generalizing again about the Sigma INFJ compared to sort of the regular INFJ, the Sigma is a little bit more of maybe more leadership, experienced, and don't care about what people think as much. We still do, but not quite as much as, and I would also compare this to an INFJ who doesn't know yet that they're an INFJ, which I lived most of my life as, and wish I would have known about this stuff sooner, is when I knew nothing about the 16 personalities, didn't know I was an INFJ, didn't know anything, I just kind of thought I was strange or weird to be able to pick up on everybody's body language, their energy. I didn't think it was good or bad that I could necessarily pick up the energy of the room. So, but it kind of, the experience was, it was kind of a bad thing, even though I didn't know what was happening. Because if there was a bad vibe in the room, when I walk into it, I experienced it. And there was nothing I could do about it. I wasn't even thinking about flipping the switch off. It was just, well, this is a bad situation now, and here we go. So just having the knowledge of what personality type you are, huge, very, very huge, because you learn about your strengths, your weaknesses, what kind of jobs or hobbies, passions you'll just naturally do well at, and different things like that. Let me take a quick moment to make sure I'm not missing any hellos before I wrap this up. Hello, Sheila, Irma, Caitlin. I think I said hi at the beginning. Yeah. Mafioso Kevin. Yeah, thank you for subscribing and joining along. I'm trying to do a live every day. It doesn't always happen, but that is the new goal. And really just talking about this crazy world and a little bit of what's going on, but more usually like the generalized, how do we deal with this world as an INFJ, as an introvert, entrepreneur, I don't know, just a person, a human, whatever you are. Well, you're probably human, unless you're a robot on this channel watching everything I'm doing. But yeah, very self-development oriented. And yeah, between my experience as a musician in the Marine Corps also for 15 years, and I've done a lot of jobs. I've done a lot of small businesses on my own over the years, trying different things, trial and error, and I failed plenty of times, but I also succeeded a lot of times. And it just all taught me a lot of different things. So now I'm trying to share it with all of you geniuses on the INF Genius channel. So hope you enjoy it. Hello, embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed to be here. So I think that's all I need to wrap up with on this one. I don't know. Yeah, and sometimes I do tie in faith topics. I do believe in God and the Bible. And I had a crazy year with cancer a second time this year and chemo the first time. And it was pretty horrible. And I'm still recovering, but I'm doing a lot better, obviously, because I'm doing lives every day and exercising and working. But that was a learning experience too. So it's just, but getting back to, I guess, the noise topic to wrap things up is just trying to be very good at time management and getting things done and not being lazy or not getting distracted. You got to cut out the noise. And it is worse than ever in this world. It doesn't matter if you're a musician, like I also am, or I don't know, you want to do something for your family or friends, help them. Life happens constantly. You got to feed yourself or feed others. There's things to do, right? So as the world has gotten more and more noisy, it's gotten way easier to get distracted and be over here doing some nonsense for an hour that just wasted your time and possibly a lot of your energy if you're an introvert or INFJ. So your life can't be boring. You're watching my lives, Elaine. And you're contributing to the PH Kids, the Philippines Kids Ministry. There's always something you can do or focus on. You can always read something, obviously, learn something new. That ends with a good story, very short story, which is one of my oldest music students right now is a drummer, and he's 80 years old. And he's been one of my best students. And he's learned a lot over the last 10 years. So I really hate the saying you can't teach an old dog a new trick, because as a music teacher, I have seen firsthand that that's just really wrong, plain and simple. So there's always something new you can do or learn or have a new outlook on if you want to, but it's a choice. But sorry to hear that, Elaine. I will keep you in my prayers, like I do all of you who watch the channel. And for anything that I ever miss the mark on, I will pray that God will fill the gap. And he always can, he always will. So I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you all, as always. Happy to see that this channel has been growing with some interest because I want there to be that community there, just like I have on some other channels that have been around longer. And uh, obviously, a like-minded community. Whether you're introverted, whether you're an INFJ, or whether you just like this topic and you find it fascinating, like I did 10 years ago when I first started learning about it. Um, and we will keep on going round and round. So thank you all for watching. I'll see you again soon. Thanks and God bless.